Sahil, coming to you, how is the demographic panning out for you, and where are you seeing maximum traction? For how is the B cat and C cat cities picking up?
Right. So in the last 6 months, right? I mean, we've launched post Delhi. We've launched like cities like Hyderabad, Chennai, Pune, Kolkata, right? And it's amazing to see some of the traction that we're getting over there. Like, for example, like the dark horse for us has been Kolkata. Like, I mean, we never expected it to grow as fast as it is growing. I mean, it's in fact beating in some senses, it's beating Bangalore in some ways. I mean, it's surprising that there is so much demand for these kinds of
Services.
technologies that people are just going for it, downloading the apps and actually just getting onto the app and booking tables. I mean, maybe there's a dearth of other stuff in Kolkata. I don't know what's the case, but there is a demand for such stuff. But like Alok mentioned, right, I think the key will be getting the SMEs or the vendors online, right? And that is when I think we will see the real growth. Like today, if I don't know, Saurabh can probably give us more insight that what is the resistance for a vendor to actually get onto a different form of technology, like accepting payments through a wallet, right? Whether it's a offline retailer, whether it's a mom and pop shop, or whether it's a restaurant, or it's a simple, maybe a dhaba out there. What are the various challenges for them to actually start accepting these kinds of technologies? Because I believe that once that happens, that is when we'll be able to get all these Uncle G's and everyone on board, because I think that is a easier part. I think the consumer, the consumer is faster to learn these technologies and they'll come on board if the product experience is as simple as, Alok mentioned. The key is getting the SME on board.
Sahil, what I meant was when I said about the demographics and the shift in demographics.
Right.
What I largely meant is, as Alok said, that when you're doing railway tickets, average age is between 38 and 39. In your case, how has it shifted, right? So when you started and how it looks like today.
Right. So see, earlier, like I think for us, I think in terms of demographics, I don't think there's been a big shift. I mean, for us, it is like, we've got our base in each, age groups. Like we've got students as well booking from the age group of 18 to 24. We've got, corporates booking, which is in the age group of 25 to 35. And we've got, age groups from 35 to 45 as well booking, right? Maybe above the age of 45 would be a bit lower for us. But the other three categories, we see almost an equal propensity of people who are trying to book. So, even above the age of 35, there are ladies who are booking for the kitty parties and stuff, and everyone in metros, in smaller cities like Kolkata, we see a lot of these middle age groups booking like 35 to 45. So for us, all the age groups are equally important. I mean, I don't see too much variation in that, and that has been for us like that from the start, because dining out as a category has been like that from the start.
Right. Thanks, Sahil. Nareeth, coming to you. You highlighted a couple of very, very key points, right? So one of the reports that was out recently, it said that about between 5 and 7 million businesses are going to come online, right? And they'll start to, within the SME space, and they'll start to transact, right? What are the key challenges that you sense as far as the SME space is concerned?
Correct. So very interestingly, the Uncle G of travel space transformed into Lala G of B2B space, right? So the first challenge in B2B space, what we are encountering is the average age itself.
Sure.
Not driven by the 25, 26, which happens to be the median age driving the B2C e-commerce primarily. Here, the average age group, including the entrepreneurs and the purchase managers, is somewhere around 35. And it is indeed the first lifetime transaction which they are doing for their own business. Nothing should go wrong, correct? And that's the something which is forcing us to post-transaction summary report, for example, matters most when it comes to this transaction, which may or may not, people do not care for an invoice, let's say in a B2C e-commerce transaction. Right, so that's one mindset which has forced us to have a relook at our product at each and every stage.
Right.
We are definitely thinking beyond add to cart phenomena. One, in our attempt to make Lalajis adapt to our technology, our app, for example, is industry specific. I mean, very soon we will be launching multiple versions of the app.
Sure.
So if you are a fabricator, Tolexo's fabricator version of the app will be only on your platform.
Right.
Idea is the guy buys 300, 500, 1,000 articles every year, and those items are pretty much freezed, right? They don't change on the whims and fancies or like fashion. They are fixed, and you need to just introduce the new price point and new brands and the price alerts. If the price falls below this level, then why not please send me an alert? So we have to do lot of original user behavior mapping while devising our product. We are still short of, right, the ideal one, but yes, these are the few things which we have inculcated in our product from the user age group and the kind of technology they have been exposed to. When it comes to the geographical split, right, let's say the tier 2, tier 3 kind of a division, obviously availability of industrial products plays a very important role.
Right.
Availability rather than the cheapest price, for example, is a key driver on our platform, at least at the moment. And we do believe, we do see a lot of traffic and demand coming from tier 2, tier 3 industrial areas. Also, you know, Hapur industrial area, 20, 30 kilometer away from Delhi,
Sure.
falls under tier 2.
Right.
So industrial areas by design have been outside city areas, have been a logistics nightmare for us, right? How do we go out and cater to them? But yes, we do see tons of demand from these micro and small enterprises from far-flung areas, far-flung areas.
Super. So now coming to you. So, you know, wallets is something which is, I think, the way it's being positioned, it's very youth savvy. What are the trends that you guys are seeing in your day-to-day operations? I mean,
some of these offline, stores that I was talking to you about are also stores where you can go in and load your wallet. So which means you could walk into this store, pay cash to the person on the other side of the counter, and that cash gets loaded onto your wallet. Now we see a lot of parents, for example, or even elderlies using that as a feature wherein they load that and then they use the P2P money transfer to transfer it to their kids, their friends, and stuff like that. So the P2P traction is really picking up where people are able to transfer money at a click. Which means that we use the IMPS technology, but we don't charge the user anything, and in an instant the money is transferred between two wallet users. So that's one case that's kind of disruptive in this space,
right,
wherein there is no age bracket itself. We see across age groups people using that. The other part is people who are already mature to the technology and to the online ordering and using their credit and debit card, they take on to wallet very, very easily because this becomes a painless way for them to transact. And again, these are guys who've been transacting online for the last couple of years, are savvy with technology. So again, there we see the adoption rate is very, very high and the usage again is very high. So these are guys who do not use it for one use case. They are now, even we get feedback saying, are you guys here? Can I use my wallet there? And there are questions like that that we see on social or through our feedback mechanism where they want more and more places to start accepting wallets.
right. So, gentlemen, I'll last set of questions to all of you, and then we're going to move to questions. How does the next 3 years, 4 years, 5 years within your spaces look like? What is that next round of innovation which we all of us are looking at? Alok, we'll start with you on that.
So I'm a big believer in predictive computing, which means that given how much you know about the person, because you're sitting on his phone now as an app, and most apps now actually ask you for permission to read everything except maybe your horoscope. And given that you know so much about the person, given you know the location, given you know his past behavior inside your app, there's a lot more you can do in terms of how customized the experience is for him versus for any other user. Which means that when I open the app and when you open the app, it need not be the same experience. Sure. And what happens at the next step when you do something inside the app, again, need not be the same, because I might know a lot about you already. And also sort of depending on, especially in travel, I can think of a lot of use cases like this, right? So, you land at the airport or you land at the train station, why can't the app start prompting you for all the nearby cabs already, right? So by the way, that's something we're launching, in a few days. So small things like that which sort of connect the entire part of the journey, understand what might your next need be. Is the next need actually to find a nearby restaurant? Is it actually that you have 2 hours to kill. Are you in another city right now? Are you actually on a business trip or a leisure trip? Can I guess that without you actually having to tell me, right? Because if I can, then I can actually make suggestions that make your life worthy. And the best example for all this is Google Now, right? Which basically, sort of throws up suggestions, even if you don't need them, but then most of them are pretty relevant, right? So the idea is, how can we leverage data? And there's tons of data. All the people sitting here, I'm sure, have like millions of users doing billions of events every month.
Right.
And we're still getting our heads around, what do we do with all this data and which part of it makes sense and which doesn't.
Right.
But I think someday we'll crack that. And I'm seeing some of the e-commerce guys already cracking it in a way, saying that, sending you a reminder that you might be running out of this now because last you ordered was 4 weeks back, right? So I think we'll have to get to that level of intelligence in the ecosystem. And I'm going to also make one more prediction that there'll be a lot more inter-app operability,
Right.
in the ecosystem, which means that there'll be ways in which, Ixigo and MobiKwik can talk to each other, and MobiKwik and Uber can talk to each other, et cetera, right? And because in the web world, that was pretty easy. In the app world, I think it's still evolving. But we're going to see a lot more of that happening. And the last thing that I see happening is just the entire mobile app experience itself might get disrupted. One of the things we are working on with Micromax, for example, is actually saying that why do you even need apps, right? Travel is such a utilitarian use case that you can actually be embedded into the device so that you do a right swipe on your home screen and you start seeing all the cabs around you and you can book them in one click, right? Why should that not be possible, right? So we are saying that the future of mobile might not even be apps because the app ecosystem is broken. It's very hard to update. There's still a lot of users who are using a 6-month-old version.
Sure.
There's a lot of challenges. So I think just the way apps are being delivered might be disrupted completely in the next 1 or 2 years. That's something that I foresee, and we all have to be, wary of that and be prepared for that.
Saurabh, what's your take?
Yeah, so very quickly, I think 3 years is a very long time to predict, given the pace at which things are happening. But the way I see the next 12 to 18 months really is, and our vision really on that is to make payments invisible for you. So there is no pain of making a payment because we realize who you are, what you've been doing with us. Again, going back to Alok's point of predictive analysis. So I have my users, let's say, who are in the HNI within my base, and I know this guy. I will give him credit, even if he does not have money in his wallet, I will make that payment go through and later collect that money from him. So that's where we're headed. I think those are some of the disruptive things that you have to do. You have to kind of know your user really, really well and then adapt your technology and your features accordingly.
And the work is already started.
Yes.
Right. Amit, what's your take on the innovation side of things in the next couple of years?
So just 2 observations. I think one, the catalog will change, the product assortment will change from the low engagement offerings towards medium engagement, wherein product plus services will be delivered. For example, AC with installation services, right? Or CCTV camera for that matter with the installation stuff, followed by the phase 3 wherein high engagement, customized for myself kind of products will see their own marking in the digital world. Second observation would be, of course, the payment side of it. There is a deep data which is lying somewhere, right, which keeps a track on each and every payments. The liability sides I am talking about. And that data is there. Someone is using it right now to issue a debit card or a credit card to you. Why not that data can be deployed to give you a credit straight away, knowing or devising mechanisms to establish your individuality? Why to not look beyond credit cards for that matter? There are intelligence, correct, which are being developed. If everything goes well, this integration of technology and consumer identification with banking platform, I think finance will see a substantial change in coming 3 months.
So I think this is exactly what Alok and Saurabh highlighted about, right? Where it's going to be seamless, it's going to be paperless, it's going to be, it's going to be well integrated, right? And apps are going to interact with each other, right?
And it will be just shipped to you, knowing that you are Ashu.
Right. Wow. Sahil?
I think these days I've covered pretty much most of it. I mean, yeah, I mean, even for dine out, I think the biggest phase of innovation will come in the phase of personalization and recommendation for the consumer, because the biggest challenge that we see where the experience is broken for the customer today is actually finding out where they need to go, which restaurant they need to visit. Like 80% of the time so shockingly what we've understood from the data is only 10% of the people actually know which restaurant they actually want to go to.
Right.
In 90% of the cases, when you go out, you say, the only thing that the consumer says is, I want to go out with my friends for a beer. Or, I want to go out today for a romantic candlelight dinner. I mean, that is how people think, right? So giving those right recommendations at the right time, getting the people to book at that time, and taking it to the next level. Like, if we get the restaurant tech thing going, right, where I can let the restaurant know stuff about Sahil Jain, right, or about Ashu. So as soon as Ashu walks in, the restaurant can actually tell you, hey, it looks like you love pizzas and we've got this wide range of pizzas for you.
Or you like this variety of pizza, right? I'm going to do it this way for you.
Yeah.
That's going to be super cool.
Exactly. I mean, whatever.
Right.
I mean, if, these are the kinds of wines that you
Sure.
like, etc. I mean, the restaurant can service the customer today in a much better fashion. So today, if you're a regular visitor at Burko's, right, you go to a Burko's in Delhi and then probably go to one in Mumbai, he doesn't know that you're a regular visitor at Burko's. But if he can recognize that, hey, Ashu is a loyal customer for me, what can I do for him? And these are the dishes he likes. I mean, that's the level of personalization and deep analysis that I'm talking about. And that is where it will take up the customer's experience one level up, and that's where it will become kind of, habit forming for him
And
to
how
actually.
far are we from there?
I think probably another 12 to 18 months, like he said. I mean, that's where we're moving to, like big data, personalization, that's where we're moving to it.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, we're running out of time. I'll quickly open it up for questions. Can we have the mics, please?
Yeah, hi, my name is Jaya, and my question is to the panel. From a very different perspective, my question is, from a stage where, mostly consumer data in traditional research, we would typically tell the respondent that all your data is going to be confidential, and we're not going to share it with the client. To a stage here where in the kind of services that we're providing to the consumer, I mean, very minute data is going to be available and is there in the space, generally available in the internet space. Right now, the base is very low, but as it expands and it gets exponential, there's going to be a huge amount of data that's going to be traded across. So my question is that, are we heading to a state of intrusive marketing in times to come, where I walk into a restaurant with my boyfriend and I don't want to be identified, and there, the waiter is after me asking me what kind of pizza do I want?
So, see, the way we are growing, right? I mean, I think anyways your data is all out there. I think Facebook, Google, anyways have all your data, and the day they want, they can actually start exploiting that to whatever they want to, right? So I don't think that should be a concern from a consumer aspect, right? So today, the fact that consumer is looking for convenience, consumer is looking for personalized experiences, they very well do understand that their data is being used by companies to personalize experiences for them. So I don't see too much of a challenge from a consumer perspective, because already, I mean, through whether you take it from something as simple as Google retargeting, where you're seeing ads based on your previous visits, your browser history and stuff, you're already seeing ads based on that. So that intrusive marketing is something which is probably already happening. I don't know if you need to call it intrusive, but that is already there.
I think in his support, I think, what will happen is you're there, to spend quality time. Your experience is actually going to move delightful. I think we as startups are very sensitive to these facts, right? We keep a track of, who's moving and who are the people who are signing up or deploying our apps, and who are the people who are disengaging. And we are continuously on that drawing board. I don't necessarily feel they're going to get intrusive. They will be there, yes. But largely, the data is going to make the entire experience very, very delightful. That's at least my understanding of how the ecosystem is panning out.
My name is Subhash Goel. I'm with Stick Travel Group. There are instances, fascinating, presentation all of you have made. How do you take care of the hackers? Because there are instances where people call you up on your mobile, and if you answer those calls, and these are originating from Estonia or, Eastern Europe, and they are able to copy all your data, and then they are able to use your numbers to call up people. I mean, I've had instances like this. So I'm really worried that with technology moving so fast and with the this wallet that you're talking about, I mean, how do you take care of the hackers?
So I think that's something that keeps us on the tenterhooks, right? So yes, you're right. There are cases that come up. So what we make sure is that at least on the safety and security side of the app, we do whatever it takes. There's a lot of education that is required today for a user as well. So for example, there are certain features which are inbuilt within a MobiKwik app, but a user is not aware at the time of sign up. So we make sure we tell him what are all the safety features that are there. So I don't know how many people over here use MobiKwik, but we have a feature wherein you can lock your phone from another phone if at the time of sign up you have registered an alternate number. So that lets you, take care of that fraud. The fraud that you're talking about are frauds which are outside of this ecosystem in that sense. But then the consumer has to be aware that if he gets a call which asks for his card number or CVV or something else, that has not to be given, period. It doesn't matter what app he uses. It's like if you have a bank account, that can be also hacked into. But you have to be aware of what is the kind of information that you are giving out.
One quick point that, Alok made here, while Saurabh was answering the question that you'd asked, was that the probability of you getting pickpocketed in Chandni Chowk is higher than you losing your data over MobiKwik. So,